I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Some of you guys may have seen me sharpening a one-man crosscut saw. It's called one-man because it has a handle on just this end, which is my handle. This handle can be moved down and be used as a two-man crosscut saw, but seeing as how there's just me, not much point. Some of you guys had questions about whether this was an effective way to cut a piece of wood. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a dull saw, this one here, which is just as I got it out of the antique store. Rusty, pitted, and dull. And I'm going to try and cut this log off. Now I cut off one piece, but unfortunately the camera wasn't running. So I get to do it again. I don't want to do this 3 times. Just going through the bark, it actually kind of cuts a little bit, not well and not easily. I want to use as much of the blade as I can, and I want to get the momentum going so that the weight of the blade helps carry it through. Now this saw is just built for bucking. Doing like I'm doing here and cutting up a down piece of wood. You can drop a tree with it, but it's kind of short for cutting down trees, and it's a lot of work, especially when you're working with a dull one like this. Not being a complete Luddite, I cut these branches off the tree with a pole saw, which is a Remington electric chainsaw with an 8-inch blade. The teeth that are supposed to be raking the chips out are snagging a hold of little fine fibers and tearing them out. It's not really slicing. Makes it a lot more work. And the rust on the side of the blade is like any other rusty thing. It drags a lot. I'm about halfway through the log, and now the log is going to get narrower in diameter as far as the cut goes, so it's going to get easier to cut. But if somebody handed me this saw and said, go cut me 2 cords of firewood today, Dave, I don't think I could do it. Got to rest a bit. It's hard work. Now I did manage to cut it off. You can see the rust that wore off the blade, and the cut's not very the distance between the cuts aren't very deep because it's not taking off a whole lot. That means I have to go back and forth a whole lot more with a dull saw than I do with a sharp one. pass of this blade through that log. Takes a chip with every tooth. You can see the amount of sawdust coming out. This is the side I just cut. Big gaps between the passes of the teeth compared to that one. This one's almost smooth. This one's really rough. It's because it's taking a chunk of wood every time it goes through. Now the set on this one is a lot smaller than the set on this one. This one has a 15,000 set. I don't know what the set is on this one, but it's a lot smaller. So an hour to a half hour's time that I spend sharpening that blade makes a huge difference in the amount of wood that I'm going to cut in the same hour of using the saw. I have these logs down small enough I can drag them off the side. They're just going to get burned up as slash. So I'm not going to spend a great deal of time trying to cut these up with a handsaw. But you get the idea from the demonstration just what a difference a little bit of sharpening makes. It's been attributed to Abraham Lincoln that if he were given 6 hours to cut down a tree, he would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. In the case of this, I spend a half hour sharpening the saw blade so that I can cut down 4 or 5 trees in the next 2 hours. If you have any questions or ideas that you'd like to see in a video, drop me a note down in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.